The Affordable Care Act has survived several attempts of repeal and replace, but with the healthcare legislation's fifth open enrollment period underway, the roughly 10 million Americans covered by it are facing some confusion. Kathy Hempstead is a senior advisor at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and she joins me now. So, Kathy, open enrollment began on Wednesday. What should consumers expect?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of consumers don't really know what to expect because it's been a very tumultuous year where there's been just a really steady stream of kind of downbeat news about the ACA that people have been hearing, whether it's the repeal and replace attempts or this sort of long saga of carrier market exit and the Bexar County issue and then the retrenchment of the advertisement and enrollment assistance, you know, at the end of it coming with the elimination of the cost sharing reduction payments. So there's been so much sort of negative news that I think a lot of consumers right now who have been sort of busy with their own lives are sort of wondering what's going on and whether or not there even is a market. So I think a lot of consumers are very confused. And we've found in the first couple of days of open enrollment that they're reaching out to brokers and enrollment assisters and saying, what's going on? Is there a market here? Is the individual mandate in place? Are there subsidies? Is anyone selling coverage in my area? And we hope that now that the market's open and people can actually see with their own eyes what's there, that the confusion will start to dissipate and people will see what they can get.
Would you say that confusion has been the most significant effect as a result of the reduction in outreach and spending here?
Well, I mean, the confusion hopefully is temporary. I think it's too soon to say how much this reduction in outreach and enrollment assistance is going to affect the market. You've seen a lot of other parties kind of try to jump in and compensate and do extra kinds of efforts in enrollment, and there have been some really great sort of grassroots efforts. I think that the reduction in outreach sort of exacerbates sort of existing problems with the market where, you know, the younger, healthier, maybe less interested in health insurance part of the population is the part that's most reachable by, outreach efforts. And so those are the parts that we are not going to be reaching as much. So I think the expectation is that we would, see a negative hit on enrollment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line for a lot of people is they want to know, how does the elimination of the cost-sharing subsidies, how is that going to affect them?
Oh, that is like such a complicated question, and I'll try to make it easy. And it's, it's different in every state, but basically the plans still offer those cost-sharing reduction plans to consumers, so they try to find a way to get the money back by changing the prices. And many states have sort of heaped the increase on the silver plans. So people that are eligible for those cost-sharing reductions are fine, and they're going to get them, and they're not going to pay anymore. And that's about 60% of the exchange marketplace, so that's great. People that get a subsidy but don't get the cost-sharing reductions are going to get sort of a bigger than usual subsidy, and some of those people are going to be able to sort of leverage it to get, a little bit of a better plan than they might have otherwise if the benchmark plan price increases relative to other plans. So that's an option for subsidized customers in many states, but not all states, because it depends how they approach the pricing. And then, as always, the unsubsidized customers are the ones that, don't get any of those advantages, and they sort of take it on the chin, whatever the increase is, which varies a lot from state to state. And many states try to heap the increase on the benchmark silver plan so as to protect those other customers with mixed results.
Right. I think confusion is sort of the order of the day right now.
Yes.
Well, what do you make of the insurance carrier exit that's already occurred? And, what might we expect in the long term when it comes to this healthcare law? Because, as you've noted, I mean, there's been so much uncertainty here. We've seen various attempts at sort of repealing and replacing fail. We've heard Democrats say there need to be improvements in this law as well. So what do you see as the future?
Well, I mean, I think the market, even before all these problems, was a little bit smaller and less healthy than a lot of people wanted it to be. And, some markets were certainly more vibrant than others. And I think for that reason, maybe some carriers felt like there was too much capacity in some places and they weren't doing well. So, some carriers have exited, particularly sort of the commercial carrier segment that we associate with group coverage. I think part of those exits are also people feeling, concerned about sort of what's going to be the future policy-wise. Is this something that's going to be growing? Is this something that's viable? But I think that segment stands ready to get back in if the market stabilizes and starts to grow. And, it could take a while. But I think, many of the carriers that retreated did sort of keep a toe in by maybe selling one off exchange plan in a very small county or doing other things to avoid the 5-year ban. You know, not all of them did, but some of them did. So I think everybody's watching, and if it's a good business opportunity, they will go back in, which, you know, I certainly think it could be if we did the things that we needed to do to stabilize the market.
All right, still a lot of open questions right now. Katherine Hempstead, thank you so much.
Sure, pleasure.